Good morning, friends. Welcome to Pragmatic View channel. Today, I will be discussing about what is politics from the CBSE NCERT political theory book. In order to understand what politics is, let me set the context, how people see the politics in everyday life. So you'd have noticed that people have different ideas about what politics is. You know, political leaders and person who contest elections and hold political office may argue that politics is a kind of public service. Some other people who associate with politics with undue manipulation may join politics to pursue their ambition and satisfy wants. A few people of a few people think of politics as what politicians do. If the public see politicians defecting from parties and or changing parties, making false promises and tall claims, manipulating different sections, pursuing personal or group interest ruthlessly. Okay, in worse cases, even they commit to crime, then people think politics with scam. When people see all of these changing trends, like politicians change often their political parties, and when they shift from one political parties to another, and they go for various campaign and makes false promises, also the big claims that we have done this and that, right? And finally they commit to crime as well. So therefore people think all of this as like scam. And so when we see people in different walks of life trying to promote their interest by any means possible, we say they are playing politics. If we see a cricketer manipulating to stay in the team, or a fellow student trying to use his father's positions, or a colleague in an office mindlessly agreeing with the boss, we say he or she is playing dirty politics. This illusion by such pursuits of selfishness, we may say I'm not interested in politics, or I am going to stay away from politics. It is not only the ordinary people who may not like politics, but even businessmen and entrepreneurs routinely blame politics for their miseries or their loss, even if they benefit from the politics and also fund various political parties by the big businessmen and entrepreneurs. Even cinema stars also complain of politics, though they seem to be very expert at politics game once they join politics. Before joining politics, they don't like, but after joining politics, they also play a very skillful and very expert politics, as you have seen in the current government, the BJP or the NDA lead governments, where you will see various politicians, various cinema stars or the cricketers and also businessmen, right? Therefore, we look at politics with conflicting thoughts and ideas, or the images that we make or we frame what politics is. So let me ask a question: is politics an undesirable activity that we should stay away from and get rid of it? Or is it worthwhile activity which we may engage with in order to make a better world? Is it unfortunate that politics has come to be, associated with the pursuit of self-interest by any or every method? We need to realize that politics is an important and integral part of any society. Mahatma Gandhi once observed that politics envelops us like the coils of a snake, and there is no other way but to wrestle with it, right? So now society exist without can exist without some form of political. No society can exist without some form of political organization and collective decision making. A society that wants to sustain itself needs to take into account the multiple needs and interests of its member, right? A member of social institution such as the family, tribes, economic institutions have emerged to help people fulfill their needs and aspirations. Such institutions help us find ways of living together, acknowledging our obligations to each other. Among such institutions, governments play an important role. How governments are formed and how they function is thus an important focus of politics, right? So, but politics is not confined to the affairs of government. In fact, what governments do is relevant because it affects the lives of the people in many different ways. We see that governments determine our economic policy and foreign policy, educational policy, right? These policies can help to improve the lives of people, but an inefficient or corrupt government can also endanger people's lives and security. If the government in power allows any conflicts to become violent, makes a market close down and schools are shut, this disrupt our lives. We cannot buy things that we need urgently. Those who are sick cannot reach the hospital. Even the school schedule gets affected. Syllabus cannot be completed. And we may have to take extra coaching for the exams and pay tuitions, right? If, on the other hand, the government makes policies to increase literacy and employment, we may get an opportunity to go to a good school and get a decent job, right? Since the actions of the government affect us deeply, we take a lively interest in what government do. We form associations and organize campaigns to articulate our demands, right? We see often. We negotiate with others and try to shape the goals that governments pursue. When we disagree with the policies of the government, we protest and organize demonstration to pursue the government to change the existing laws, right? We often change. We have been witnessing such, demonstration, even when government policies like the CA, Citizenship Amendment Bill, it was protested by many people, different sections of the people, different political parties, right? So we passionately debate the actions of our representatives and discuss whether the corruption has increased or decreased during this tenure or last tenure, from the last tenure, whether this government has reduced the corruption. So we often debate, and also the employment opportunities, right? The policies we used to discuss. We ask whether corruption can be rooted out. So we can say, can corruption can be finished or abolished, or it can be, completely rooted out from the society. We also discuss about it, whether this government can really do, right? Whether reservations for specific groups are just or unfair for some people. We try to understand why some parties and leaders win election also, right? Like why we often discuss why Modi is winning so much of, winning so much of vote with huge margin. We often discuss this. What are the qualities, and is the government is doing good policies? So we discuss about. In this way, we look for the rationale underlying the prevalent chaos and decay and aspire to create a better world, right? So in this way, we questions the government and contribute ourselves as in responsible citizens for good policies for welfare of all, right? So if I say, or to sum up, politics arises from the fact that we have different visions of what is just and desirable for us and our society. It involves the multiple negotiations that go on in society through which collective decisions are made, right? At one level, it involves what governments do and how they relate to the aspirations of the people. At the another level, it involves how people struggle and influence decisions making. People may be said to engage in political activity, whether they negotiate with each other and take part in collective activities, which are designed to promote social development and help to resolve common problems, right? So in brief summary, like what I'm trying to say is that we often see the activities of the government, how it is doing, and when it is not doing, so we struggle and influence the decisions making of the government, right? So we negotiate with the government. So we take street to protest, right? In order to promote social development of all sections of the people and resolve our common problems that affecting all of us. So it's up to you. So whatever we do, is it politics for welfare of all, not for selfish interest? The selfish people engage in selfish interest have to be questioned, have to be, have to be questioned, have to be confronted. So as I said, as Mahatma Gandhi also said, it's a coil of snake. You cannot get rid of the politics easily from day-to-day life. So it involves from, as I have discussed in my before starting, or when I was setting the context, right? So it is up to you to understand whether the politics is an activity to influence government or any association or any organization to save or to frame a good policies or good interventions. So thank you so much. Stay tuned with Pragmatic Channel. It will help you to brainstorm about the issues. Thank you so much. God bless you all.